Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome to episode number 1 of the Green Bay Packers franchise here on Madden NFL 25. I'm so excited to finally be bringing this episode to you guys. I know it's a couple of days late, but been dealing with the move the past couple of days, haven't had internet, but we're finally up and running and we're finally ready to start this series. So I appreciate your patience. If you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. We're going to have a lot of fun in this series with the Packers. I'm excited, and I hope you guys are as well. Now, before I begin, I do want to apologize if you hear a little bit of an echo. It's because I'm in my new office, but there's nothing in it, so all the sounds kind of bouncing around. So I do apologize if there's a slight echo. And also, this series will be tied directly to my Gamecocks Dynasty on EA Sports College Football 25. So we'll see real draft classes and stuff like that. So we're going to have a massive football universe here on the channel, and I'm so excited for you guys. But let's get into it. We're going to do the Green Bay Packers this year, and I thought long and hard about this decision of who I was going to pick, but we've gone with the Green Bay Packers because I feel like they're in a very interesting spot. You know, they're kind of a playoff contender. They're kind of in the middle. But honestly, Madden 25 has done the Packers no love. They are a 78 overall. If you go through all the teams right here in the franchise menu, that's bottom 3. There's only 2 teams. There's one team that's worse than them in the Giants, and there's another team I can't remember who's tied with them in overall. To put into comparison, my favorite team is the Panthers. They were the worst team in the NFL last year. Even they're a 79. So we're actually going to be thrown even more under the bus, which, hey, that's actually a little bit more fun. So we're going to jump in. You can see the rankings here. We're not the best offensively. Got a little bit of a better defense, and you can see the top players there. But let's go ahead and select our squad, the Packers. I will not be using a Matt LaFleur. We will actually be changing. I always like to do an owner. And we'll say we were a financial mogul who bought their way into the Packers franchise, because if you did not know, Green Bay is actually the only franchise that is publicly owned. There's actually stocks in the Packers. Now, I don't think you could buy it really, like in real life, but we're just going to say we did. So we're buying stock in the Green Bay Packers. We are their new owner, and we are ready to go. So here are the settings that I have currently for my franchise. These are not set in stone. I'm still going to switch some of the quarter length and stuff like that, but we will be playing on all Madden. Gotta be the highest difficulty. That did not go our way in the Washington Commanders franchise, but we're here to right these wrongs in a Madden 25. I do like to play on 15-minute quarters, and I usually do turn the clock down a lot just so I can kind of get realistic times and games with that. As far as everything else, here's what it looks like. Everything on manual besides the practice reps and the auto progress players, because the CPU auto progresses their teams. I want to keep it kind of on the same playing field, so I will have them auto progress my players. I've never seen this talents thing. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but we'll have that on auto as well. As far as trading, I like to make it very hard. I don't want to fleece the CPU, so I make it as hard as possible. And I want free agent motivations to impact where a player goes, so I do have those on very high. If it doesn't work out, we can always readjust. Everything else is on, and stuff like that. Coach firing, I will have to on. So that will be that. And you can see the rest of it here. I might mess with some of these later, and then autofill rosters off. So we are ready to go. We're not going to start in the preseason. We're going to start in the regular season. So they're going to cut the rosters for us. We'll see what rosters they cut for us after the sim, and we'll go ahead and meet the team when this simulation is over. All right, we are here in the franchise hub. Looks a little different this year. I actually kind of like it. It's pretty slick. I feel like it's a lot more simpler. As you can see, our first game of the season is against the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll touch more about that in a second. Let's go ahead and meet this squad. Why are the Packers a 78 overall? So we'll go ahead and take a look. Starting off with, of course, at quarterback, you have to start with Jordan Love, the 25-year-old who just got the massive contract extension in the offseason. 4 years, $220 million for Jordan Love. He is the future of this organization. But honestly, there's a little bit of doubt there, in my opinion. He is 25 years old. He's a top 15 quarterback in the league. But if you look at his numbers and stuff, what has he really done? He's played 1 year. It was a good year. To be specific, it was a good second half of the year. But is that really worth the $220 million he just got paid? The contract is not currently in the game right now, I will edit his contract in. And that's just another wrinkle why I picked the Packers, because I want to have to manage that contract. How is it going to be like with a quarterback who's making absolute stud money? And we'll have to manage that as we go. But Jordan Love, his contract will be in the game, but he is our quarterback. Behind him, we have Michael Pratt and Sean Clifford. So there's also not a lot behind him if something were to happen to Love. At halfback, the new man in Green Bay is Josh Jacobs, the former Las Vegas Raiders, signed a 4-year contract in the offseason. So for the next 4 years, it's locked up with Love and Jacobs in the backfield. He has superstar development. He's a top 10 halfback. You know, he will definitely be leaned a lot in this series. If you watch my Commanders series, I leaned on the running back heavily. That will not stop here. Jacobs is an absolute horse. Didn't have a good year last year with Las Vegas just because he was kind of their whole offense, and I think a lot of defenses kind of honed in on that. But he's coming off of 2 years ago where he was the NFL rushing leader, but he does have that big contract for running back. And if you look, 16.6 at the end of the year, at the end of his tenure. But he and Love will be the backfield of the future. Also have A.J. Dillon, who will spell him as well. He did a good job with Aaron Jones when he was with Green Bay last year, so Dillon will have that role. And there's also third-round rookie Marshawn Lloyd from the University of Southern California. Was a transfer from the University of South Carolina, so go Gamecocks. So someone also to look out for. And then you get into the wide receiver core, which is a little thin, if I'm being quite honest. There's really not a true number one here. This is a very young unit. This is a very inexperienced unit. And somebody's going to have to step up. And if you watched my Commanders franchise, when we didn't have wide receivers other than one, we were in trouble. So I don't know. This offense could be in for a little bit of a rude awakening. I mean, the top guy is Romeo Doubs. He's an 80 overall normal development player who, I mean, has showed sparingly. He had 8 touchdowns last year. But has he really proven that he's a number one yet? I don't think so. So I think he's going to have to prove it this year. Right behind him, also 24, is Jaden Reed, the second-year man out of Michigan State. He has star development, though, so he could potentially overtake Doubs as that number one guy. Played pretty good as a rookie. Also had 8 touchdowns, 793 yards. Pretty solid year for him. He should potentially step up and might honestly get more volume in this offense. The third guy is Christian Watson, who missed a lot of time last year with that hamstring injury that kind of nagged him. He also has star development, so while it is a younger receiving core, it does have some promise. I'm not throwing the whole receiving core under the bus, but they just got to prove themselves. And Watson, you can see the numbers here. Down year last year because of injury, had a pretty solid rookie campaign. Hopefully he can build on that here in year number 3. And then you also have Dontavion Wicks behind him, only 23 years old. And then Bo Melton as well at 25, who's not on a guaranteed deal there. And then you also have Samori Toure. If you go to tight end, very thin here as well. Luke Musgrave, the second-year man at Oregon State, is the top-rated tight end. And he's going to have to build upon his rookie season. Normal development, not sure if he's the future. Very quiet year last year. We need to have him be a part of this offense if we want to potentially maximize it. Also behind him, Tucker Kraft, and then Ben Sims. And then we go into the offensive line, which is very odd in this game because the left side of the line is really stacked, and then the right side is not. So although we have 3 guys who are listed here at left tackle, we might have honestly 2 start. Zach Tom is a surefire left tackle starter in this game. 25 years old, star dev, will definitely be built around, you know, very good ratings other than maybe his run block power, but he's a solid left tackle. I mean, behind him, though, is Rashid Walker at 24, who's a 77. In any other team, he probably would be a starter at left tackle, except for the Green Bay Packers. And he will probably play at right tackle for the first year at least. I do plan on having him play and start, even though he's listed here as the backup. And you also have Jordan Morgan, the rookie out of Arizona, who was the first-round pick for the Green Bay Packers this year. He's got hidden dev, so another future offensive lineman. I mean, if you look at his ratings, they're also pretty solid. He honestly might start at right tackle over Rashid Walker. So 3 great tackles on the left side, which is just kind of odd to see. You go into left guard, Elgin Jenkins. Obviously, he's holding it down here for the offensive line. He's the veteran of the squad. He is the best offensive lineman we got at star dev, 28 years old. You know, a good building block there. Expect a lot of runs behind him. He can also pass block as well. All of his 3 of his pass block ratings are in the 86 plus on top of his 89 strength. So I'm hoping our offensive line this year can really give Jordan Love some time. Also have Royce Newman behind him, who also could start. Maybe will be shifted to right guard if needed. At center, a little bit weaker. Josh Myers is there, the 26-year-old from Ohio State with normal development. His ratings are not as strong, a little bit subpar, but he does have that good awareness at least, so he should at least enhance some of the awareness of his offensive line fellow teammates. But he's at center. Behind him, we have Jacob Monk. And then at right guard, Sean Ryan is technically the highest lifted right guard at 69. I mean, why would I not play the 70 overall Royce Newman or one of these left tackles at that position? So even though Sean Ryan is listed as a starter, not sure if that's going to be the case. Same thing at right tackle. Our highest is Luke Tenuta at 61. That's just not going to cut it in terms of a starter. So these two guys will not start. Ratings all in the 60. He will be a backup tackle this year. Get to the defense side of the ball, which is the strength of this team. Starting off with Rashawn Gary, who's up to a superstar dev now. He has really been a good player for the Packers for a few seasons, coming off 9 sacks last year, 6 the year before, and then 9 before that. So Rashawn Gary is knocking on the door of a double-digit sack season, and I honestly think he could get it this year with that superstar dev, 86 speed, only 26 years old. He has the tools to wreak havoc for years to come. Behind him, we also have Lucas Van Ness in case Gary needs a break. The second-year man of Iowa had a pretty solid rookie campaign. He's also looking to build upon that. There's also Colby Wooden behind them. At right end, Preston Smith, who's been a long-time member of this team now. He's been a reliable edge rusher for the Packers as they now play on a 4-3. He's more of a run stopper, however, not going to really get to the quarterback, but at least help stop in the backfield, which is what we need. Because behind him, we do have Devontae Wyatt from a former national champion with the University of Georgia. He is more of the pass rusher. So I think Preston Smith might play on the early downs. We might see Devontae Wyatt, though, on those third down rushes. He is a speed rusher by design. So look at that pairing on the right end. Then you also have Kingsley Enagbari, another former Gamecock, Go-Cox, in the right end spot. It's only 24, who also could be a rotational pass rusher. Up the middle, arguably the other standout of this front seven, arguably maybe even better than Rashawn Gary, is Kenny Clark. 28 years old, still kicking it, 87, superstar dev. I mean, you want to talk about run stopper, you have Kenny Clark, 85 block shed, 92 strength, a man who will plug the middle at 6'3", 314. He's going to eat up a lot of blocks in the middle of that line. Hopefully that allows Gary to get free. Hopefully that allows TJ Slayton to potentially get to the quarterback, because we are playing a 4-3 now. So I need Slayton to potentially step up from 6'4", 330. Big size up the middle. He is also more probably of a run blocker, but he's got a lot of development. But hopefully he can cause some disruption as well. And then Carl Brooks behind him. We get to the linebackers. At left outside linebacker, we have Eric Wilson. This is honestly the weak unit of the Green Bay Packers, is the linebackers, and that could be subjective to passes over the middle. Previous Maddens, quarterbacks will feast over the middle of the field, especially the CPU quarterbacks. So this is an area of concern for me. Eric Wilson, 69 overall at 29 years old. He's not going to be the future of this team. He's got decent speed, but he's not very good at covering. He doesn't have the best block shed. So other than being fast, and he doesn't really have a defining trait for me. So we'll have to watch that. Middle linebacker, Edgerrin Cooper is there. I'm going to need him to really step up. He is a rookie out of Texas A&M who has hidden development. So I do think Cooper is that player we can have solidify the linebacker core and build around. He's got 89 speed, 71 zone coverage, but he is a rookie, and that's going to be a lot to ask for a rookie linebacker in the NFL. So it might be some growing pains, but I do think Edgerrin Cooper could be that guy. Also behind him, Isaiah McDuffie and Christian Welch. Then you move to right outside linebacker. They have Quay Walker, who is the highest ranked linebacker of this team. He is currently the captain of that unit, 24 years old, star dev. I think him and Cooper could be the linebacker core, but Walker's not the best in zone coverage either. So it's going to take some time. We're probably going to get cooked over the middle a good bit in year number 1, but I think we have some good building blocks. Tyron Hopper is also there. Then you get into the secondary, which you can't talk about the Green Bay Packers defense without talking about Jair Alexander, the stud of this team, the best player on the roster, the former multi-time Pro Bowler, the X Factor at 27 years old. He is a blanket cover corner. 92 speed, 95 man, 94 zone, 94 press. Top 5 corner in the league. Coming off the season where he didn't have an interception for the first time ever, but that's because they weren't throwing at him, and for good reason. Alexander will be leaned upon. I plan on just being able to put him on an island and just let him go to work. Because behind him, we need somebody to step up. Eric Stokes is there at 25 years old, but the Packers actually declined his 5th-year option this season. So after this year, Stokes is the free agent. So we'll have to decide quickly if we want Stokes to be a long-term piece of this team, because he's a 77 overall star dev. He's going to get a lot of interest next year. So I think this is a very much a prove-it year for Eric Stokes in his future in Green Bay, Wisconsin. In the nickel, there's Keyshawn Nixon, who's got pretty good speed. Then you also can play Corey Valentine if needed, and Carrington Valentine as well. So nickel job kind of wide open. Also Robert Rochelle. At free safety, the new man is Xavier McKinney, the former New York Giant, who signed a 3-year contract in the offseason to come to Green Bay. Solid acquisition for the Packers. Great man across the field. He is a top half safety in the league at 26 years old. Just a great signing for the Green Bay Packers. Evan Williams behind him. And at strong safety, you got rookie Javon Bullard, who I am very excited for, a 2-time national champion with the Georgia Bulldogs, who is a good cover corner as well. He can hit, he can play in the box. Then he needs to get off blocks a little bit better, in my opinion, but I do like his promise with that hidden depth as well. And then you got Keaton Oladapo and Tyler Coyle. At kicker, Anders Carlson will be the kicker for this team. And then at punter, you have Daniel Wheaton. And that is the Green Bay Packers. An introduction to this squad. Next episode will be week number 1. I plan on having that to you guys tomorrow, as we will be playing at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, in real life, this game is in Brazil, but unfortunately, they do not have that here in Madden. So it will be a Saturday night game, or a Friday night game in Philly. So it'll be a hostile crowd. It'll be electric. We're now going into enemy territory. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you again for your patience. And now that this series is up and running, we're going to kick right into it. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop that like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.